Hello and welcome to another video. This is American English with this guy. I'm this guy. My name is Brent. I've been an English teacher in the United States for 20 years. The goal of this channel is to help you improve your English. The goal of this video is to help you understand the difference between Republicans and Democrats in the United States. In the United States, there are two major political parties: the Democrats and the Republicans. Since 1860, every one of our presidents has either been a Republican or a Democrat. When we talk about the people, we say they are either a Democrat or a Republican. When we talk about the party or the group, we call it the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. For some reason, Democrat changes to Democratic when you use it as an adjective. I don't know why. Sometimes in English, you just have to shrug your shoulders and say, I don't know. It's English. It doesn't make any sense. Hey, it's Wednesday today. I'm just trying to film this whenever I can. It's been a pretty busy week. I haven't had a lot of extra time, but I hope to get it finished today. I work from home on Wednesdays. It's November 3rd, the day after the election, and we still don't know who our new president is going to be. But let's talk a little bit about the Republican Party. That is President Trump's party. They're known as the GOP, or Grand Old Party. They were started in right around 1860. And the funny thing is, they're actually not as old as the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is older, even though the Republicans call themselves the GOP, the Grand Old Party. The first Republican president was Abraham Lincoln, and the Republican Party was actually started to stop the spread of slavery in the United States. In the United States, there was a civil war fought in 1860 to 1864, and some people will argue this, but a big reason the Civil War started was to stop slavery in the United States. The Republican Party is also identified by the color red, and that is really actually pretty new. It wasn't until the 2000 election that red became the color for Republicans and blue became the color for Democrats. And in the United States, we have states called red states. Those are states that always vote for the Republican president, red, Republican, ours. That's how I remember it. And blue states will vote for the Democratic nominee for president. Two very popular blue states are California and New York. It's been a long, long time since they've gone red for a Republican president. Two red states are Texas and Florida. However, Florida lately is not as red as it used to be. So some people might call Florida a purple state or a swing state or a battleground state. But it looks like in the 2020 election, Florida will be going red, but in 2024, don't be surprised if Florida doesn't turn blue. The elephant represents the Republican Party. Now, nobody is exactly sure how the elephant became part of the Republican Party, but during Abraham Lincoln's first presidential campaign, he's from a state called Illinois, and a local newspaper put an elephant in a cartoon with him, showing how strong he was. Also, in American culture, elephants are known to have good memories. I'm not sure if that is true, but if you ask an American, hey, what do you think of the elephant? They might say, oh, it's a big, strong animal with a good memory. All right, back at it here again, talking about the differences between Democrats and Republicans. It's another day. It is November 5th. We still don't know exactly who the next U.S. president will be, but it's looking like Joe Biden. possibly. And I want to give a shout out to Nori and Ibrahim. Nori from Hungary and Ibrahim from Egypt. They sent me some really nice messages recently, so I want to acknowledge them for their kind words. Thank you so much. A little more about the Democrats. The first big Democratic president was a guy named Andrew Jackson. And donkeys are associated with Democrats, just like elephants are associated with Republicans. Well, he was known for being stubborn. He rubbed people the wrong way, which means he could upset people sometimes. So again, in a newspaper, there was a cartoon published with Andrew Jackson calling him a jackass or a donkey. But instead of shying away from that, he embraced it and wanted to be known as a donkey, as someone who is stubborn, as someone who rubbed people the wrong way. So that is how donkeys and Democrats were first started to be associated with each other. In English, a donkey is sometimes known as an ass, and someone who is a bit of a jerk might also be known as an ass. That's how donkeys, Democrats started to go together. So let's review. Republicans, red. Elephants, right wing. We also have right and left to describe the two political parties. Right, Republican, R. Red, elephant, conservative. So those are all adjectives you might hear used to describe Republicans. Democrats, blue, elephant, left wing, liberal. It can get pretty confusing because all of those words can describe Republicans and Democrats. Conservative means they like traditional things. They like the way things have always been. That would be more Republicans. Liberal, they like to see more change. Left wing, more change. Democrats. And in another of my videos, I talked about the word spectrum, which sometimes we can talk about colors that are very dark, all the way to colors that are very light. There's a line, and they can change along that line. Well, the same can be said for people and their political views. They can be very right-wing, very left-wing, or they could be described as somewhere in the middle. If you think of yourself as in the middle, not too far left, not too far right, you might be known as an independent. That is a person who doesn't have a political party. In the next part of the video, I'm going to talk about some issues that Republicans and Democrats really disagree about. Two of the biggest are gun issues and abortion. If you're an independent, you might feel strongly with the Democrats on abortion, but maybe you feel strongly about gun rights with the Republicans. You might identify as an independent. Let's start with a big one, abortion. It's never easy to talk about because you're talking about people's lives. It's often the mother, the woman, or the baby, and one of those two lives might have to suffer. Democrats believe in pro-choice. That's what we call it in English. That means the mother or the couple can decide to abort a pregnancy. Abort is the verb we often use. Possibly terminate. Terminate the pregnancy. Democrats are more likely to agree that the woman has a choice. They are pro-choice. Republicans will believe the opposite. They are pro-life. That's what we call it in English, pro-life. They do not believe in abortion at all. If they're really right-wing, they will not believe in abortion at all. But we talked about that spectrum. Some Republicans will believe in cases of like rape, or if the mother is going to die. Some Republicans might believe that having an abortion is okay. It just depends on how far right they are. Again, it's a really sensitive topic to talk about. Most Americans will not discuss how they feel about being pro-choice or pro-life. All right, and as you can see, I am outside. It's a new day. It's November 6th now. It's taken me all week to film this, and we still don't know exactly who our president will be, although it's looking more and more likely that it will be a new president and we will have President Biden as our new president. But it's a beautiful day here in the fall. It's about 70 degrees Fahrenheit, so I thought, why not finish this video outside? Let's talk about guns. And what I have found is that a lot of people are curious about guns in the United States, how Americans feel about them. And to be honest, if you are a Republican, you are more likely to want people, citizens, to have the opportunity to have guns. And if you are a Democrat, you are more likely to want to try to limit the amount of guns a person, a citizen can have. You might want to limit the types of guns. Some Democrats might want people to only have guns that are used for hunting and maybe not protection. So a rifle or a shotgun, something bigger that couldn't be carried in a pocket, that might be okay for some Democrats. That's used for hunting. But a handgun, which most likely would be used for protection, might be too much for some Democrats. In the United States, we have a document called the Constitution. It's a very important document where our most important laws are kept. And the First Amendment gives Americans the freedom of speech. We are allowed to say things, as long as they don't hurt other people, we are allowed to say things that we feel. We can even say our president is a jerk. We don't like him or her. The Second Amendment is the right to have firearms or guns. So it's like the second most important law in our country, or at least in the top 10 for most important laws. The first 10 amendments or laws of the Constitution, those are called the Bill of Rights. The second one is the right for Americans to have guns. Those are the two big ones, abortion and guns. But Republicans and Democrats almost have completely opposite opinions on everything, even mask wearing. Since the beginning of the coronavirus, my state has required people to wear masks inside. Democrats feel strongly that this should happen. Republicans, they don't feel like they should be required to wear a mask. When we talk about global warming or the environment, Democrats will be more likely to want to create laws that will protect the planet. Republicans will be more likely not to want these laws so that the economy can grow even more quickly with things like gasoline, fossil fuels. Republicans are not into green energy as much. When we talk about green energy, we mean reusable resources like wind power or solar power from the sun. When it comes to money, taxes, the economy, Republicans are more likely to want fewer taxes. They are more likely to want the workers to be able to keep their own money and spend it how they wish. Democrats are more likely to want to raise taxes, make workers pay for more money to help everyone out. For example, universal health care. We don't really have that in the United States, meaning everyone has health care. It depends often how much money you have. The more money you have, the more likely you are to have good health care. Democrats
would like to see everyone have health care. Republicans would be more likely to think a person needs to work hard, try to do well in life, they earn that health care. One thing I do want to say about health care in the United States, even if somebody is really poor and they need help at a hospital, the hospital will accept them. They will never turn a person away because they don't have enough money. I tried to make this video as fair as possible. I hope that you can't tell if I'm a Republican or a Democrat. I think it's the job of a teacher not to insert their own opinion when talking about politics. Tried to do my best with that. If you enjoyed this video, learned a little something from it, please hit that like button. Maybe think about subscribing to this channel so you never miss a lesson. If you're looking for more English videos, right up there is a playlist of videos I've made about the American government, and below that is a video YouTube doesn't think you've seen before. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.